Welcome to another episode of the Pink Juice podcast. Today I have a very special guest because we have a real life relationship coach here. So we have Samantha on today. Thank you so much for joining me, Samantha.
My absolute pleasure. I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited for this chat.
Me too. I am so excited to chat to you because I feel like when we have conversations outside of here, they are always just so amazing. So it only made sense for you to come on the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for anyone watching or listening right now that they don't know who you are or what you do, please tell them.
Okay, so I'm Samantha, but a lot of people know me as Sammy, just like Gabi does, for short. And I'm an attachment trauma therapist specialist. And yeah, I fall under the category of relationship coaching. But what I do is I work with the individual on their attachment trauma that they may have seen come up in their relationships. And it's pretty trendy now that people know about attachment styles. So that's basically the work that I work with, which is the anxious attachment, avoidant, fearful avoidant, and secure attachment. So that is the foundation of the work that I do. But what it is primarily is helping people to better understand themselves and also understand others as well, so they can relate in a more healthy and secure manner. So this is primarily the work that I do, and I've been doing it now for 5 years under my company, the Relationship Rehab. And we have programs stemming from helping people overcome breakups, because that's always such a hard-hitting experience for someone who is more on the anxious side. So I offer that, and I do my one-on-one practice as well as some group offerings in between. I'm based here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, have been for 10 years now, but I'm originally from Wales, and I have a social work background. So yeah, that's pretty much me. Is there anything else you need to know about me?
Oh, maybe we'll get into it. But that was such a great introduction, and yeah, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you because you are such a powerhouse. Like, I learned so much from your content. I feel like the only thing I ever comment on your reels is like, I feel seen. Like, that's literally always me, because the way you articulate everything, which I'm sure you will throughout this whole podcast and our conversation, is so clear to understand. And I just feel like that, like, I've learned so much about my own attachment styles. Like, I am a classic anxious person, and watching your content has helped me identify a lot of the things that, like, I do, and then try and overcome them. And yeah, like you say, it's allowed me to better understand myself as well. So that's why I'm so excited to speak to you. But I have a confession to make.
Oh,
I was so scared to ask for you to come on the podcast. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God. Oh. So when you asked me about the podcast, I was like, this is my chance to be like, will you come on as a guest?
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored that you asked me.
No, thank you. Honestly, I just felt like I had such imposter syndrome, because you're like your stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm doing a podcast about relationships. Like, do I even know anything?
And I'm right here by you, encouraging you, supporting you, cheerleading you on, because that's what women do. And I'm just so happy that you're doing this, and so happy to be a part of it. And I'm glad that my content makes you feel so seen. That's such a compliment, the biggest compliment I believe a coach can receive about their content. And I purposely make it that way because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be in that space. And all the skits that I do, and all the scenarios that I act out, I'm a bit of a drama kid. I've been there myself.
Yeah.
So I'm able to articulate it in both emotions and words, because it's from personal experience more than anything. I've read the books, I've got the certifications, but at the end of the day, the best teacher is life. Literally. And I know that pain of being in dating and relationships and going through breakups with anxious attachment, how exhausting it is, how painful it is. And the one thing that we love the most is love. We love love and we want relationships, and they mean so much to us, yet they cause us so much despair as well. So it was my mission when I started the relationship rehab, is to help myself as well, if I'm being honest, because I was still on the journey, and help other women and men have better relationships, have healthier relationships. Yeah. So that's the biggest drive really in the mission of my company.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm just so excited for this conversation. I'm like, it's going to be so good. But before we get into talking about anxious attachment, which is going to be the focus of today, and attachment styles, I want to know more about what made you get into being a relationship coach.
Again, like I said, it was this mission of really wanting to help others, and I was already doing it, like with my friends, and I have a social work background, so I love people. I've done a lot of work around attachment trauma. It was just mostly primarily with the parent and the child, and it was only when I went through my own personal journey that I understood that actually it's a thing between partners as well. And I went through quite an abusive relationship when I was quite young, from the ages of 15 to 23. Very codependent, very enmeshed, very typical anxious attachment and avoidant attachment. And it was probably the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. And I've used it now as a way of being able to help the world and help others. So I became a relationship coach. One, because I was very encouraged by my friends.
Oh, I love that.
Well, the friends I was around at the time, they were like, you have to be a coach. And they just started calling me Coach Sammy, even before I was coach. So I got a lot of gratitude and thankfulness for them girls. And I just went for it, and I loved it, and I just kept going with it. I actually started out as a digital nomad coach, actually.
I remember.
I should mention that.
I remember that.
Because I was too scared to do what I really wanted. And it's just so bizarre that as women we do this to ourselves. But I started as a digital nomad coach, helping people do what I was doing, which was living in Thailand and working online. But I noticed that I really liked the first part of the programs that I was creating, which was all about mindset and psychology and somatic practices. But when it came to the other part, which is helping them find work, I was like, oh. I don't know if I want to do that part. Yeah. And I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was trying to help me figure this out. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I do, but I don't. And he pretty much put me in the direction of working on relationships, because he was able to give me beautiful feedback that I taught him a lot about relationships and communication and boundaries and self-love. And hearing that from him and having his encouragement, I was able to do the scary thing and say, all right guys, I'm not doing digital nomad coaching anymore, I'm going to do relationship coaching. And I just went with it, and it was super scary, but I did it, and I'm so thankful that I did.
Oh my God, I've got like goosebumps. I'm so like inspired by that story. And I remember like you were one of the, when I first moved to Thailand, I was like 23. And I remember you were one of the first few people that I met in like my months here. And I remember you telling me like you were a digital nomad coach, and we went to Manifesto, is it?
Yeah, I remember.
And then what a full circle moment.
I know.
5 years later, we're sat in a podcast studio talking about relationships.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel that way about you as well, because back then you didn't have females flying solo.
No.
You were at a residential home or something like that,
I was working in an addiction treatment centre,
Yeah, and you just fresh out of uni with psychology, and you were, from what I remember, feeling a bit lost and overwhelmed and not enjoying
Still
it.
am.
And you loved travel, and you just wanted to do travel. And I remember meeting you and thinking, gosh, that's where you were, and then watching your journey, building your business and being the most amazing, powerful woman that you are. Like, it's been a hell of a process for both of us, right?
I know, honestly, it's such a journey of life, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, amazing. Right, so let's get into attachment styles, right? So for someone who has never heard of an attachment styles, how would you describe attachment styles?
It's something that we all have. It's the way that we relate to our primary partner most of all, but we can sense it and feel it in our other close relationships as well. But it's primarily around our close relationships. We wouldn't necessarily feel it with our co-workers or acquaintances. But we see it in ourselves, in the relationship with ourselves as well. So it's how we attach to other people. Now, attachment is a very healthy, normal thing that we are meant to do as human beings, because we are built for connection and we're built for reproduction. So it's in our biology that we are to be attached to another person. Now, our attachment style is formed and created and conditioned in our childhood, and it all comes back to how we were able to attach with our primary parent. This is mostly the mother, predominantly the mother, but it can also be the father. So it's how our mother related to us as children. So when we look at the different attachment styles, and we'll be here all day if I was diving into it, but I'll just give you a very brief insight, and if anybody is super interested in it, there's so much out there in the internet to dive into. But an anxious attachment is when you have a low sense of self and a high sense of others. And what may have happened in the childhood of an anxiously attached person is that their primary parent was quite unpredictable in meeting their needs. So one minute they're there and they're attentive and they're connected and present, and the next that they're not. So what that child is learning is, I don't know if this is going to stick around. And I have to change something about myself in order to have more of it. So for example, if you have a mother who's under a lot of stress, right? And this is not by any means saying that now all mothers need to quit their jobs and be super attentive to their child. That's not what we're here to do, but we're here to just recognize how this is being formed. So a mother could be super attentive one day and then super stressed with her own stuff the next. That child would then perform or be perfect or try to get anything to get that love and attention from that parent. And what they're learning is love is hard to get. Love is something that needs to be earned, and it's scarce, meaning there's a lack of it. They then take that program into their adult relationships. So they pretty much, what we're doing is repeating childhood patterns when we're in relationships. This is why we sometimes feel like a child, because we are a child in that moment when we're feeling really needy and sad and lonely. It's our inner child really needing our attention in that moment, because it's subconsciously repeating whatever experience it has had in childhood. So now we're in an adult relationship also feeling that this is going to go away one day. I need to do everything and anything to keep the attachment and the bond that I have with this person, even if it means keeping myself small, that a lot of women do, not saying things that I really want to say or doing whatever they want to do. And it's the way that we cope. It's the way that we protect the attachment that is forming or has already formed with our partner. So that's the basis of attachment styles, and that's how anxious would pretty much show up. The avoidant is the opposite. So it's a very similar childhood experience where the parent is very unpredictable in meeting their needs, but the avoidant child will have a different reaction. So instead of the anxious would lean in and want more, the avoidant leans out and they learn that they can't depend on that parent. I can only depend on myself. So they then have a high sense of self and a low sense of others. I can't depend on people. It's better that I just do it myself. And they have this hyper independence and they'd rather be alone and they need all the space. And this is because they're driven by a fear of intimacy. If I let this person in, then they're going to hurt me in some way, shape or form, based on the experience they had. So maybe they allowed themselves to be vulnerable, they showed the emotions, and the response they got from their parent was shame, punishment, humiliation for showing emotion or for having needs. So what they've learned is having needs and having emotions is a bad thing. So when they see it in the anxious, it's like the biggest ick for the avoidant,
run away,
because it's something that they've deeply suppressed in themselves, and then they run away and they take all the distance, and that's when we start to have the anxious and avoidant dance between the two partners. And then the fearful avoidant is a combination of both, so they feel both the anxious and the avoidant parts. And this is because they grew up in very volatile, chaotic households where they didn't know what was happening from one minute to the next. And the only way that they could protect themselves as a child is to be safe. To be safe is to be close and to be distant. So a classic fearful avoidant example would be when you're having an argument and they're like, no, I need more of you, I'm sorry. And then the next minute they're like, no, that's broke my boundary, I'm now breaking up with you. So they can switch so quickly. So that is a very brief overview of the 3 insecure attachment styles.
Oh my God, I love that. Literally, I feel like I am a classic anxious, and I don't think I started really understanding attachment styles until I was probably about 24, 25, and that's when I started, because I felt like I was just reflecting a lot on my own relationships and how I was showing up in them, and that's when I started actually, I learned about attachment in my university because I studied psychology, I had my bachelor's and my degree, but you reading about it and then reflecting upon it on yourself is like totally different. And once you start to notice those patterns in yourself, you're like, oh my God, wow, like this is me. What are some classic not symptoms, is that even the right word? Symptoms?
Signs,
behaviors of someone who is an anxiously attached person?
I'd be curious to know what yours were.
Okay,
when you're 24 and you're coming into the space of learning about attachment style, because you're right, we're not taught this in school, and when we are taught it in university, it's mostly about attachment between parent and child. That's attachment theory is pretty much based on parent and child, and it's only now kind of blowing up as a trending thing, because rightly so, I'm so happy to see that people are starting to understand how it ripples into being an adult. So what was being present for you that you were like, oh, I think this is anxious attachment?
I think I had different signs in different kinds of relationships as well. So when I was in like my long-term relationship with my ex, like one thing that I was very, like I really remember if I ever had an argument, I would like make a point of like storming out, shutting the door, because I wanted to be chased. I wanted someone to be like, oh my God, no. And they didn't. And then that made me more angry. That made me more like wanting to have an argument more. Like if they weren't replying to me, I'd just be on them, like calling them, you know? And it was just so unhealthy. But then I was also in a situation where I was in a situationship, which you kind of get into and you're like traveling and and I don't know. And he was a classic avoidant. So when you talk about like the dance, it was like, I would be like wanting to reach out all the time, and wanting to like, want that attention, I guess, to feel validated, like needing to constantly be checking my phone and texting. And to be honest, I still kind of do now, even when I'm not in that situationship dynamic anymore, but I have noticed I still have those patterns. I would say those were like my main ones. It's constantly like being on that person. It's like, oh my God, why aren't they replying to me?
And this comes from, thank you for sharing, by the way, but this comes from the fact that we have this low sense of self, and also we have not been taught self-attunement. And what this means is when you have a healthy, secure attachment between parent and child, how that parent attunes to the child, that child learns how to self-soothe. For some reason that got disrupted. So we don't know how to self-soothe. So we're constantly outsourcing everything. And when we are interested in someone and we really like them, then the activation starts in the attachment system where we're like, okay, I'm now feeling quite insecure about myself and I need all the validation from them. I need to know that they're also thinking about me as much as I'm thinking about them. And we're always looking for connection because that's how we feel safe. When we feel connected, we feel safe. And connection could be a response to our text message. It could be them sending a meme over Instagram. Those pockets of connection is what feeds us, but feeds our attachment system, and we want more. We're always wanting more and we're never satisfied. And the avoidant feels that. They feel this kind of encroaching. I always say it's like a Dementor in Harry Potter.
Literally. That's how I feel sometimes.
Where it's like sucking and getting everything. But you can get from this person. That's how the avoidant feels. I'm not saying that's how it actually is. And they just don't have any space for themselves anymore. And it triggers their attachment wound of being dependent on. They don't want anyone depending on them. They don't want anyone needing them. And in fact, it gives them the ick because they don't need anyone, and they're very proud that they don't need anyone.
No, and it's such a difficult dynamic to be in, because when you, like, now I feel like I'm quite blessed and lucky in that I've kind of done a lot of the work on trying to identify. So when I displays those behaviors, I can offer myself a lot more compassion than I could quite a long time ago. But when you're in that dynamic, it is so anxiety inducing, because it literally is the end of the world. You literally feel like I'm not lovable. You feel like, and for me, a lot of the time in these relationships, as I had a lot of like, I'm going to feel abandoned. Like there was like an abandonment wound, which for me, I have been able to identify 100%. Obviously it's come from my childhood. Like when you talk about the mothers, like my mum, she had me when she was 16. She was a single mom. She wasn't around that much when I was, young, but as a child, you don't have the understanding of that. I've only been able to understand that as an adult. Like everything my mom was doing was for me, and she's my absolute hero. She's literally incredible. But as a child, I didn't have that, attachment to her. I had my nana a lot there. But then when I turned 21, my nana passed away. And it was like that abandonment wound got activated. And in a very weird way, I feel that a lot in my relationships when I get close to someone. So and I feel like I can feel those abandonment wounds in relationships now, even like very early on when I'm starting to like date or speak to someone. And like they haven't replied to me in a day, I'm literally like, and it's scary, but it's so like, you can't control it.
You can manage it. Yeah. I mean, awareness is always the first step, right? Being aware, okay, this is happening, this is what I feel, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm going through. And understanding, okay, it's coming from an attachment wound, as that is the biggest wound that an anxious person does carry. And I mean, relationships trigger all our shit. Am I allowed to swear? It triggers all our shit, as so does business. But relationships do in every manner, shape and form. So that's why I'm so passionate about us learning more about ourselves in relationships, because not only does it impact us it impacts us in all areas of life. Like one of the biggest things I recognized in my journey, that if I had a problem in my relationship, I couldn't function in work. The amount of times I would run to the bathroom to cry because it's just there. And I had to keep my shit together. Like in social work, I'm going to court and I'm going to a family house and I'm doing this, but I would have to go to the bathroom and cry and let it out, because I'm so afraid that he's going to leave me, that I'm worthless, that I'm not lovable, and all of this stuff comes up to the surface and is seeping out of my pores. Couldn't function in work, couldn't eat. My digestive system would completely shut down because of the amount of cortisol that was raging through my body. I couldn't, like, my periods didn't stop, but they started becoming regular. The reproductive system starts to go. We start to feel unwell. My skin would break up in acne. Like, I still have scars on my face from those days where my skin would just completely break out in acne. And this is because we're in survival mode. This person is distant. That's the biggest trigger. And we're like, have to do everything and anything that we can now to get that back. And that's why we find it so hard to leave relationships.
You're attached.
We're attached.
Actually attached. And the thought of not having that. I also feel like sometimes I've questioned this is, have I been addicted to that attachment as well?
It is a form of addiction. It's the same chemical reaction in our bodies that's happening when we're addicted to heroin.
Wow.
That's how powerful it is. Codependency and heroin, same thing.
That's actually crazy.
Right? Because of the amount of dopamine that gets released when we're in a new attachment. You know, when we feel euphoric, we feel high, everything all of a sudden is just multicolored. And the music that you hear is just the best music ever, and you just feel like you're on drugs. It's because you kind of are.
Oh my God.
You're on natural like opium in your body, the dopamine, the cortisol that comes with that as well. And that's why we have these extreme highs and lows. We're flying high on dopamine and serotonin and endorphins, and then we come crashing down. We don't get that response for like 4 hours. We come crashing down, and then the cortisol then starts to come, and these are very addictive chemicals. So you're not addicted to the person, you're addicted to the chemicals that gets released as a result of your external experience. So yeah, it is an addiction, and we need to start treating it as such and stop shaming people for it. I don't know about you, but I've had this a lot where it's like, oh, for goodness sake, like, just get over it already. Oh, you're being such a child. Oh, you're being so dramatic. Oh, you're too much. Oh, you're too sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
And what it does, it just puts us in this space of shame where we don't want to talk about it anymore, where we don't want to show people what we're going through. And we start shaming ourselves. We start shaming our inner child. Yeah. And the cycle just perpetuates itself. If anything, it just gets worse because now we're just so afraid to even start dating again.
That was exactly what happened with me, because when my situationship broke down, I was, and we even had this conversation on your podcast, must have been this time last year-ish, and I just was so like against dating, but it was because I wasn't scared to date, I was scared to get triggered, because I didn't have the tools to deal with that. Yeah. And now I'm in such like a healthier mind space. I am literally obsessed with dating. I'm just like out there living my best life. But I'm still getting triggered, and it's like I'm still having to, I guess for me it was as well, like I knew I had to put myself out there to almost be in situations where I do get triggered so that I can practice regulating myself.
That's it. With
knowing what I can do. But it's taking me like years of getting there. Like it's not just like flicking a switch. Like it is such a, it's like a spiral, you know? You have good days, you have bad days. Yeah. And I don't even really know how I got there. I think it is just from educating myself and like spotting those patterns and like really reflecting.
Yeah, but it is becoming an issue now where, especially amongst women, they don't want to date. They have, and I get it. I really do get it. They've now developed beliefs that all men are shit. There are no men out there. All the good men are taken. And they feel so good now being single because as a female collective, we're coming more together, which is amazing. We've got our own businesses. We're thriving. We don't need men anymore. And that's another topic for another time about how men are reacting to that. But this is where we are as a collective, right, with women. Yeah, we want men, we want a relationship, but when we think about the past experiences that we've been through and the exhaustion and the anxiety and the shit that we've had to put up with, it's like a fire, right? And we don't want to walk through that fire anymore because we feel like we're going to get burnt all the time. The abandonment wound's going to get triggered, the rejection wound's going to get triggered. And we're like, why should I do that to myself when I'm all good here, single, and I can just focus on myself? So I think that's the issue where women are now going into this hyper-independence. The Pussycat Doll song, I don't need a man to make it happen. And, all these kind of like feminism, like hyper-independent songs, I'm all for it, right? But when do we draw the line of taking it too far and we're now covering fear with our avoidance?
What are your thoughts on the whole, like, I don't need a man? Because I feel like most of the time when I open TikTok, I literally see all these girlies like, I don't need a man and all of this. And sometimes I just think like, it's like what you say, like, I'm not afraid to admit I need a man, but in a way that like, I know I can support myself. I know that I, love being single and looking after myself. I'm very independent. I can give myself what I need. But ultimately, I know that my goals are to have a family, to have children, and to have connection with a partner that I chose. So I'm not afraid to sit here and say, no, I do need a man. Like I want him and I need him, because in order to have those things, you need a partner.
Yeah, we need each other, regardless of gender. Because we're built for connection.
Exactly.
And the worst thing you can do with a human being is put them in isolation. That's why they do it in prisons. the worst punishment in the world is to isolate that person, because you can develop severe mental health issues from being isolated, because we're built for connection. So in that way, yeah, we do need each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it all depends on how you feel about that word, need, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I need, is it empowering you? Is it make you feel like, yeah, I need a man and I'm not afraid to admit it, and I need female friends as well, and I need money, and I need food. These are all survival basics, right? Like love is a basic need. Yeah. So in that sense, 100%. But how are we then, let me start that again. But it's when we take the word need and disempower ourselves with that word. Like, I am incomplete without a man. I am incomplete. You know, I am nothing without a man. A man is everything and I am nothing. And then comes that seeing a relationship or having a partner as a status. Yeah. And I'm better off when I'm, like, I hear this sometimes, I'm better in relationships. What do you mean by that? Like, it's just a different experience, right? Of being single and being in a relationship. And I just want to, I don't know, it's coming to me of this generational thing as well, because when I go home in the summer to Wales, my grandmother, who's like in her 70s, nearly 80s, who also got pregnant very young and married very young, sees me as a 30-odd-year-old woman in Thailand, single and dating, have had relationships. But she's like, oh, I just feel so sorry for you. You haven't got a man and you're not married and you've got no babies. Like, what do you even do with yourself? And I'm like, I'm great, I'm thriving, you know. But I think for her, she doesn't understand that. She comes from a completely different generation. So maybe there's parts of us that still carry that with us, you know. And yeah, we're breaking it, and women in society are in a very different position now. But yeah, it's short of it all is how you use the word.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I feel like, yeah, I need a man, but then the other days I'm like, no, I don't need a man, you know. But yeah, I do think it depends on like how you use it. And like, I'm not afraid to admit that, like, I don't even necessarily think it's like the man, you know. It's
connection,
a partner, a relationship. It's like you say, connection, you know. Yeah. But I do just find it very interesting how a lot of the time it's like, sometimes I hear women saying it and it's almost like they're angry, like, I don't need a man.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
They're afraid, and avoidant is again a protective mechanism. I get it asked all the time as well. I used to be anxious and now I'm avoidant. I'm like, well, what if I get curious, like, what is this avoidant protecting you from? This avoidance, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of getting rejected and burnt again. I may as well stay single because I know I'm safe here. All comes down to safety. Yeah. And until you can work with that, dating is going to be a very triggering experience.
Oh my God, I literally feel this now. When I'm not speaking to a single man, I am the most secure woman that exists on earth, because there is no one triggering me. Yeah. But then when I start to like speak to men, like develop sparks and connections, that is when I feel like all I do is think about men.
Exactly.
They occupy so much of my headspace. I must spend like 80% of my life thinking about men.
Exactly. When you have your own business to run, when you've got children to take care of, when you've got all these things on your plate, yet dating a man sucks so much from you, well, of course you're not going to date if it takes so much from you. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. And when you learn the tools, when you become more secure in yourself, embodied security, not just like learning from a TikTok video or ChatGPT.
No. Again.
Then it's, you know, it does get to be, you can both hold your own, stay centered, stay grounded, stay focused on your stuff. And it's healthy to have your own stuff, by the way. Otherwise, you will just completely feel enmeshed and codependent on that relationship to fulfill every part of you.
Literally. But, okay, so if a woman, if you are, if someone is listening and watching this right now and is thinking, oh my God, like, this literally sounds like me, but they have no idea where to start. with like overcoming this, what would be like your first piece of advice?
Well, the first step is always awareness, just like we said, right? If you're listening to this is building your awareness. You're like, okay, yep, I feel seen. This is what I deal with. I've been doing my own reading and listening to podcasts, and yep, I can see now that this is an anxious attachment that I'm dealing with. And then the first thing that I would recommend people do is to get into the body, because we try to figure everything out out here. Oh, if only I'm a better communicator. Oh, if only I have better No, we need to get out of the head and trying to figure out what's going on with the other person, or what's going on here, or doing things differently, and drop into the body. And this is why another big passion of mine is somatic therapy, because the abandonment wound lives here. The anxiety lives here. And that is what we feel first and foremost, right? When we start dating someone we really like, anxiety. So let's go there. Let's get to that part that feels anxious. Let's start talking to that inner child within. Let's start learning these somatic regulation practices that we can all adopt, whether it be yoga, which was my thing. Like, I fell deep into yoga to manage my nervous system. It could be dance. It could be any type of somatic means body work. So any type of movement, any type of focus and attention that we can put into the body. But I get it, right? Easier said than done. Yeah. When you've got anxiety raging through and the only thing you can think of doing is distracting yourself from it. There's such a thing as healthy distraction. Like, I wouldn't recommend going into meditation when your anxiety levels is at a number 10. Not going to happen. And that's why a lot of people don't do meditation. Get moving. Move the energy through. Energy is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. So when we're feeling emotion, honestly, move the body in any way that feels good. And this could just be stretching, it could be running, and focus on the nervous system regulation thing first of all, because when you're able to have the tools to manage anxiety, and we have something in the brain called the amygdala, and she's the kind of, I call her Amy. And she's there with her binoculars like this, looking out and scanning for threats all the time. But what she's got to work with is past conditioning and programming, right? So she's got this to work with. She sends a signal. We haven't had a response in like 3 hours. And, you know, he's read it but not responded. She's pulling some lever like this, alarm, threat. Everyone, we're going to die, you know, and she's running around. It's a little bit like the Inside Out movie, right? When they're like, and that's how we feel, where we're like, oh my God, now I'm bracing myself for another anxiety attack. When we can meet Amy, our inner Amy, calm her down, everything's fine, I'm safe. And start to ground back into the present moment, because she's either in the past, this has happened before, we need to be afraid of this, or in the future, we're going to be abandoned, rejected, and die alone. This is literally what's happening. So anything that grounds you in the present moment. So it could be going out in nature. It could be something so simple as putting your feet on the floor and feeling into the ground. Curling your toes, what do I feel? And this is what I do with all my clients at the beginning of every single session. I teach them grounding. From that part, that's when all the other stuff, all the subconscious reprogramming, all the mindset work, all the boundary work, all that comes after nervous system work.
Sometimes I shake. I just shake.
Yeah.
I just like shake.
Somatic shaking.
I'm just like, let it all out, let it all out, let it all out. And you just do feel so much better after. Like, it's so weird. And when you think about it as well, like, if, you know, we think about animals when they're in like a fight or flight response. Yeah. What does a dog do after? Like, they shake. Yeah. Out of fear, you know, they shake all that off, and that is just like a what's the word? Biological thing. Yeah.
Taylor Swift got it right when she made that song, Shake It Off.
Shake it off.
Just shake it off.
Just put on Taylor Swift and shake it off.
Yeah.
A man that hasn't replied to your messages.
Shake it off. Shake it off. And what this will do is put you out of the fight or flight, right? Yeah, this isn't just, that's it. It puts you out of the fight or flight, because where we want to lean in, we're in a fight. When we're in flight, we want to flee. And so it brings us back into a more grounded state. And from that grounded state, we then respond as opposed to react. So we want to react. We want to text them again. We want to blow our heads off, and we want to go around there, and we want to just do something to get a reaction from them or from anyone who's triggering us. But if we can just be with ourselves and get us back to that grounded state, we can respond. Have you ever been in a situation where you've had an argument with someone, partner, and you've said something that you later regret?
Yeah.
That's because you're in fight, right?
Yeah.
That's because you're in survival and you're all tensed up, and you feel hurt and you just want to hurt them back. And then you calm down. And then you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Bugger.
Yeah.
So instead of reacting, we can take that power pause, I call it a power pause, a lot earlier on, regulate ourselves through breath work, through walking, through whatever's your jam, and then we come back to it. I think we need to normalize walking away to take space in a very healthy way.
Yeah.
We need to normalize that. We don't have to figure this argument out right now.
No, I agree with that. I agree. So before, when you said about like feeling the anxiety in your body, so do you believe in, like, you know, when people say like, oh, I had butterflies on that day. What are your thoughts on that? Is it butterflies or is it anxiety?
Yes, it's just anxiety. Butterflies are anxiety.
Yeah.
Like butterflies are flutters of nervous system activation. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and if you feel butterflies, then you need to block the dude. That's not what I'm trying to say, right? But just be aware of them. Just be aware of them. This, you know, it can also signal excitement. Right? That's okay to just feel it, and without labeling it. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. So I think we need to stop labeling our emotions as well, because once we start saying that something is bad, we see it as bad.
That's so true.
It's not bad, it's just information.
Exactly, it's just data at the end
It's
of the
just
day.
data.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm feeling butterflies, and nervousness and excitement are the same thing.
Yeah.
In Thai language, it's the same word.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you say tan ten,
Then.
right? Tan ten means dancing heart, something like that. It means. And I remember saying this once, like, oh, chant tan ten, and meaning like I'm nervous. But then the Thai person thought I was excited, so she's like, oh! I'm like, no, tan ten.
Oh.
So it's the same. What it basically is, this is the same chemical reaction.
Yeah.
So nervousness and excitement's the same.
That's
So when we remove the label and we can just see it for what it is, it's just a reaction. It's a sensation that we're feeling. And what I want to encourage people to do is just not apply meaning to it. Don't mean that you've just found the one. It doesn't mean that at all. And it doesn't mean that this is a bad connection either.
Oh, that's literally me. Oh my God, he's going to be my husband.
Yeah.
I'm a husband.
Oh,
I'm a husband.
I've been there before. I've had, and not even butterflies, I've had explosions in my body. I'm like, this is insane. This is definitely my husband.
Yeah.
I've just found the one.
Yeah,
like, I'm now in love. And it's not in love. It's your attachment system being activated.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Okay, so I also have another question. Like, why? I feel like some people trigger me way more than others. Like, I'm in a stage right now where I'm like dating, speaking to multiple people, meeting different people, right? And I'm finding that some people, like, I'll be like messaging one guy and he won't reply to me in like a few hours, and I'm constantly thinking, oh, why the hell has he not replied to me? And then some people I could not care. Why is that?
What are these people? Like, when you say some people, what is it about them?
I guess like I'm just attracted to Samantha. So
That's
I'm
it.
Not.
Yeah, that's it. You're interested or you're not interested.
Oh no. But then I still almost like want to continue the conversation going with the other person, even though I'm like, I know nothing's ever gonna come of it.
Why?
Which is kind of like I'm noticing my own like, damn, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm a little bit naughty.
But again, no, I want to remove that word should, okay? Like, when we say should, we shame ourselves. I shouldn't be doing this. Who says? Oh, it's not healthy. Okay, well, let's get curious. I always lead with curiosity, and this is one of the most powerful skills that we can adopt and train in ourselves to become more secure in ourselves. Curiosity. Approach everything with curiosity. This will detach you from it. So now you're not making this mean something about you, because I'm sure you are. Making it mean something about you when you do this. You're not making it mean something about them. Instead, you're approaching it with complete detachment. All right, this is what I'm noticing in myself, that I'm continuing to entertain this person even though I know I'm not interested. Why?
I think it's just like the enjoyment, like someone's interested in me. It's like the validation, isn't it?
Yeah, validation. Comes back to validation.
But then what do I do about it? Because I know I'm not interested in taking it. Like, that's not the person that's triggering me, right? But I'm enjoying them reaching out to me and like constantly making conversation. But the person that isn't doing that constantly, that's the person that's triggering me.
I'd be curious to know if you would be entertaining connection number 1 if connection number 2 wasn't triggering you so much. Because connection number 2 is making you feel a certain way, you're still holding on to connection 1 because it's balancing it out and it's making you feel good over here when this isn't making you feel good.
Exactly. So what do I do?
Inner validation. So again, it comes back to this outsourcing that we do. Why do you need, again, curiosity. Why do we need validation? Why? So you feel better about yourself, right? Usually is.
Yeah.
I feel better about myself. Why do I not feel good in myself? Why do I feel the need to be reaching out to these people for validation? Validation comes from the ego as well. Like our ego wants to be massaged and stroked. We all want that, right? We all want attention. We all want to feel special and feel good. But I would then get curious with you and ask, how are you doing that for yourself? Out of anything attached to work. So when we start to validate ourselves through work as well, I would be asking the same questions.
Oh my God, this is like,
What are you doing to attend to yourself? Because attention is what validation is. How are you attending to yourself? How are you validating yourself and who you are?
I feel like I do a lot of that already because I've done a lot of that work. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was in this exact situation like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I would not be able to cope. I wouldn't even be able to talk about it happening because I would be so triggered and so like I probably wouldn't even be able to speak to you and have this podcast without thinking, oh my God, has he messaged me back? You know?
Yeah.
But so I've come such a long way.
Yeah.
But then it's like, is there also some sort of acceptance with that, in that maybe that is just like a part of me? Like, is there going to be a point in my life where I'm never not going to be triggered? My anxious attachment isn't going to be like activated. Do you know what I mean? That's constantly what I'm asking myself. Like,
triggers again are not bad things.
oh, okay.
They're not. They are invitations to go deeper with yourself. I used to avoid triggers like the plague as well.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable. I don't want to be triggered. I just want to run away in flight mode. But when we can be with the trigger and see it as data, information, I always say an invitation to go deeper with yourself. So if I'm being triggered by this person not texting me back, instead of staying on the outside, which would be, you know, it's just in this anxiety until he texts back, what an exhausting place to live.
Yeah.
Right? Because no wonder people are not dating when that is their reality. Instead, what is going on in the body? Where is this anxiety? Is it in my gut? Is it in my chest? Is it in my throat? Start to be with yourself. Start to form that relationship with yourself. Be with the uncomfortable, the discomfort. The more that we are able to expand our window of tolerance, we talk about this in nervous system regulation, the more that we'll be able to handle our triggers. But we can't handle our triggers until we expand our window of tolerance, and how we do that is getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So don't run away from triggers. Triggers are there to help you expand your window of tolerance, because when you can sit with the anxiety, move it through with the tools that you learn through somatic therapy, and you're able to calm yourself down, validate yourself in the moment that your worth you're not giving your power, your worth to this person not responding to your text message.
Yeah.
No, you're not doing that anymore. Your worth lies with you. You are worthy, and that is a fact. That is your birthright. And you don't get that from a text message from someone you've just met and been on 2 dates with.
Yeah.
So you work on that part.
God, I feel like this is a live coaching session.
I feel like
I'm like down. I'm like sat here overthinking all of my behaviours. But no, I totally relate to what you say, like about the triggers, and I do think it is, like I said before, like like, I'm trying to remember that I'm putting myself in these situations to be triggered. But yeah, some people just like to give you crumbs, and I think anxiously attached people, we cling onto the crumbs.
Yeah.
We can't see the full cake when we've got it.
No, because that's what we're familiar with. We're not used to having the whole cake. And I wonder if you having this experience when you do have a man coming along ready to give you the whole cake.
Am I going to be able to handle it?
Are you even attracted to it?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
When a man comes...
Yeah, and he's ready and willing to give us the full cake, how many of us, anxious women, say, he just doesn't do anything for me, I don't feel anything, he's too nice, he's too kind, he's a good guy, and I need a bad boy, you know? I need a bad boy to just throw me up against the wall and do things to me. Like, and I've been there myself where we just don't go for the nice guys because it doesn't feel familiar to our attachment system. So when we are doing our best to work on attracting a more secure man, but we still feel anxiously attached, it's like two magnets repelling each other, because we're always subconsciously choosing partners that feel familiar, not feel healthy, but feel familiar.
Yeah.
An avoidant partner feels familiar to the anxious and vice versa. So if we want to work on attracting a more secure partner, it has to start with us. We have to get more secure, because when we come across a secure man or woman, we're either going to reject it, or we're going to go with it and think, well, this is something that I have to choose, but we're always going to feel discontent and unsettled because something's missing. And I've done that myself, and what happens is then we go into sabotage. We're trying to create drama now in the relationship, and my secure partner's looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you picking fights? Why are you always trying to cause drama? And it's so I can create a familiar situation, an environment that feels familiar to my attachment system. Because I'm attracted to this guy, I know he's healthy, I know I should be with him, but there's something missing. What's missing? Drama.
Literally. So then where does that leave us? Like, I feel like I've definitely got better at it, and I am consistently, but what would happen if that guy comes tomorrow?
What would happen if that guy comes tomorrow, Gabi?
He comes, he gives me a piece of cake. No, not the piece, he gives me the full cake.
Yeah.
And I can't deal with it. I can't. It feels weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I posted a meme the other day about, it made me laugh. It's like a bunch of men trying to hold baby goats, and the baby goats are like, wah! And in the text it was like, when a healthy man comes along and your dysregulated ass can't handle it.
I'm the baby goat.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know how to handle this, and it's scary. I know I keep repeating myself, but this really is truly the first step of where we need to begin the work and continue doing the work, just getting curious about your own experience and start to retrain yourself to desire this on every form, not just consciously desire it, but subconsciously desire it. The more safety you can create within yourself, the more attracted you will be to it. Yeah. And you will stop being attracted to the drama. You'll stop being attracted to the push and pull. That won't do anything for you anymore, because now you've built up so much self-worth. You've built up so much safety in yourself, that anything that comes along to dysregulate your nervous system, you just reject it. Yeah. And you start to retrain yourself. And that's the journey that I went on when my last partner was very secure in himself. And I remember when I met him the first time, 5 years ago, I had that experience, but I was like, he's so nice, and I know I should be with him. I know he's someone I should choose, but it's just no substance. There's nothing there for me to hold on to. What I meant by that, my attachment system to hold on to. And we had to go back and forth for a while, but he didn't give up on me. And I continued my healing work. And I started to choose it. And the more I chose it, and the more I started to build that inner safety and worthiness in myself, the more attractive it became, the more I desired it, and now I'm dating again, and I've had a very recent experience that I still have to tell you about, that was screaming red flags. And I completely rejected it on a body level, not just in my mind thinking this is not healthy. On a body level, I was completely repelled because I had embodied safety, that secure attachment. So I was literally running for the hills because we were on a mountain. Literally.
Okay, so let's talk about dating then for a second. So if you're someone that is anxiously attached, what are some red flags that you should be looking out for in dating experiences?
Oh gosh, where do I start?
Literally.
Because I mean, okay, I call it the traffic light system. There's the common red flags that we all need to look out for, right? But then there's also the personal ones. Mm-hmm. So what I do with my clients is we do a traffic light system when we start to understand our values and what is non-negotiable and what is compromisable and what is a green light. Because when you're anxious, you don't think about these things. You just want a man. Yeah. And you want him to be tall, dark and handsome, and that's about it. But we need to get deeper. We need to start to understand the values because we chase chemistry over compatibility. Chemistry will burn out. And then 6 months in, there's no compatibility and you're trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole. And that's when a lot of relationship drama and chaos starts to happen. So back to your question, I just wanted to highlight that because we all have our personal red flags as well as the more common ones, right? But I'll speak from my experience. So the common red flags would be like if he's starting to display narcissistic behaviour, right? So personally, I'm speaking personally, if he's not asking me any questions, if he's talking about himself. Now this could be nervousness. I always leave space for that. I'm like, maybe he's nervous. We all talk about ourselves and we're all obsessed with ourselves. I get it. But if it's a pattern, and this is the thing, we don't want to be like flying the red flag all the time. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, and start labeling everything as a red flag. Patterns is what we need to look out for. Is this a pattern? Is this person never asking me questions? That doesn't do well for me because this is supposed to be an exchange, 100%. Right? And another red flag could be if he's rude to the waiter. I've been on a date like that as well, where he's been so gentlemanly and kind, and then as soon as something's up with the food, the rudeness that I observed was just a hell no, absolutely not, walk away immediately. So just observe how they are with other people. Just rudeness and disrespect.
Yeah, I had an experience where I matched with a guy on Hinge recently, and very just like small talky, and then he was like, let's grab dinner at Tuesday at 7 p.m. But I was like, I can't, I'm busy then. Okay, well let's do Wednesday. It's like, I can't, I'm busy then also. I'm free on X, Y, and Z. And he was like, okay then, let's do then. We'll go to this restaurant, it's my favorite food. And I was just like, okay, I don't know, I just felt so weird. I was like, okay. And then I tried to carry on the conversation. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not meeting you for another 3 days, but it would be nice to learn a little bit more about you. And I just said to him, I was like, so what do you do for work? And he's like, oh, I run a digital marketing agency. I don't like to talk over text. I'd rather say this conversation in person. And I just was like, fuck you. Ooh. I was like, well, I do like to speak to people before I meet them so that I know who I'm giving my time and energy to. If you're not vibing with this, then maybe we shouldn't meet on Thursday.
Yeah, so that would be a red light for you because it's an incompatibility. Yeah. But another woman might see that as a green light.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, he's leading, and I can be he's in his masculine. This is how they may think. Yeah. He's choosing the restaurant, he's choosing the date. And I don't have to do anything. Again, I'm just offering a different perspective, right? And then maybe another woman who also doesn't want to chat over text will see that as a green light. Great, fab. He's more of an in-person person. He's not giving me all this chat over text messages. So you can see how everything is about you, right? And your personal take on things. This is why when we talk about red flags, there's the more common ones of disrespect and rudeness and narcissism and all these things that we need to look out for. But also getting to know what our red, orange and green lights are. So for me, a big one, smoking. If he smokes regularly, no, my red light. I don't want to be with a smoker for my own personal reasons. I don't even need to explain it, right, to anybody. That's just my non-negotiable. An orange might be that he social smokes. Okay, I can deal with that if he's going to have one or two when we're out with friends. A green is obviously no smoking, right? So when we can start to categorize where we stand, so that way we're not just open and we don't have any standards, you know, like it's about setting standards for ourselves. How do we want to be treated? You know, and when we start to get to know someone, the type of conversations that we will start to have with them and what we'll observe in their behaviour is all information for us to start to decipher, are they compatible? Now, when there's so much chemistry, all that gets lost.
Yeah.
All that gets lost. Red flags don't get ignored. They are waving in our face, smacking us silly, and we can't see them because we're too busy trying to be perfect and trying to make sure that they like us and ignoring them, dismissing them, making excuses for them, and it just bites us in the ass in long term.
And I think also we need to take that time to sit with ourselves and think about them as well, which I
100%.
didn't. And I think this is why, for me, where I reflect back on like my young relationships with so much like compassion to myself and to the other person, because like I didn't know who I was. I was in a relationship because I just got into one. I don't really know why.
You just stumble into that when you're young.
Got into it. I don't know why. And it was only until after that relationship ended, when I was like 23, that I started reflecting on, well, what are my values? But I wouldn't even say that I really knew them until probably this year, in the past few months, really started reflecting on them. And when I was in my situationship dynamic, like it was so toxic, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And throughout that time, I definitely took the time to look at my values and like, well, what do I want? And one thing for me was very much like prioritizing your health, your well-being, and like I didn't want to be with someone who smoked weed as well. No shame, no judgment against anyone that does. But I still stayed with that person, even though I knew that value, right? So I don't know why I did that for so long. And I think it was just that attachment, that it was making the excuses of, well, he's given me X, Y, and Z. So.
Yeah. And another thing that we tend to do is hope that they change.
Yeah. And I think this is because as women, we tell ourselves stories about the future, and it's the potential that could be, but you can't be attracted to potential. You have to see what you have in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, on one side it's beautiful to see potential in someone, like what a superpower, right? To see what somebody could be. But when do we start to project that onto them, and then start to feel disappointed that they don't live up to that idealization that we built on about them in our own heads, and we put them on that pedestal. We put their potential on the pedestal, and then that just triggers their wounds of not feeling good enough and not being, and being rejected for not being who they are, not being accepted for who they are. So I think that's kind of our shadow as the anxiously attached, is a superpower that we see the potential, but when it gets projected and we start to squeeze them into our own mold and hole, we start to get very disappointed by them. And that's, again, something for us to look at. Why are we feeling disappointed? What are those expectations and idealizations that we have placed on this person? Because I've done it, I've gone into connections and relationships thinking, but, maybe in time they'll change. Or, they'll make these changes because they'll love me so much. And then we've applied meaning to it. Oh, now they're not changing, and they must not love us enough to not change. But it doesn't work like that. No. I had the same. I chose my boyfriend of 8 years. He was a drug-fueled musician. And I was a teacher's pet, A-grade star student. Like, we couldn't be more opposite. It was insane. But I thought, it'll be fine in a few years. Like, he'll grow out of it. He'll change. He'll grow up. And I know we say this no matter what age we are. We just hope that man will, as soon as he gets into the relationship with me, because I'm such a good influence, he'll make these changes. And then we end up breaking our own hearts.
And we end up representing the person as well, which
Yeah.
is such a disservice, one, to yourself and to them
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I tried to like project everything onto them, and like I think like my intentions were not coming from a bad place. Like I wanted what I thought would be best for him and for
yeah.
me, but that's not necessarily what that other person thinks and believes. And there's definitely still a part of me that holds a lot of like I like shame, I guess, because I was like, I don't want to be that person, but if anything, like I know now that I can't be that person going into like a relationship with a partner now.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to see them for who they're showing us.
Yeah.
Again, all information. It's not an invitation for us to be like, right, challenge accepted. Here I go. I'm going to transform this bad boy and I'm going to reel him in.
Heal him.
Yeah, I'm going to heal him.
Oh.
I'm going to fix him. And he's going to be so thankful that he's never going to leave me.
Oh, wait, why is it so mean?
We take this upon ourselves because we're fixers, we're healers, we want them to be their best selves, and we don't do this consciously. I think that's what we need to emphasize here. We don't mean to. It's a subconscious thing because we've had childhood experiences where we've had to fix mum and dad's moods in order for them to feel happy. We've had to fix parts of ourselves in order to make others happy. Yeah. Always abandoning our own needs and putting others, and we're just so focused on others because that is what's kept us safe for so long in our primary attachments. Yeah. So we're not here to shame each other for that. It's just the programming that we've been conditioned with, and it has been part of my deconditioning to not emasculate a man in that way anymore, to accept him. I ask myself, do I accept this man for who he is right now with the information that he is presenting to me? Yeah. If there is a part of me that says no, this is not something that I accept, I am not fully choosing that person. And vice versa, we want to be fully chosen by our people, right? Of course we all got flaws, we're not perfect, but can we accept it? If it's a yes, great. If it's something to work on and they're willing, we need to assess for willingness. Yeah. If they're like, yeah, this is something that I'm ready to change about myself, for myself, perfect. They're seeing that this is something that they want to adapt. Yeah. But if they're like, nah, I didn't realize this about myself and now you're highlighting this about me and we're not accepting it, that is on us to act on that.
That is so true. And that is true, like that person has to want to change for themselves,
yeah,
for you as well, you know?
Like we've romanticized this thing that people change for us. No.
That's how resentment builds.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, they have to want to change for themselves. Internal motivation is a much stronger, this is what I've learned from my social worker days, you need to internalizedly motivate people in order to do things. If the more external motivation that you put on someone, the worse it is. I used to see that so clearly. Like if there is a neglect case that I'm working with and we're trying to threaten them with court, threaten them to take their children away, but their addiction to love or drugs or whatever is the problem is so strong and they are not internally motivated to do so, no matter how much they love their children, it's not going to happen. And it's the same in romantic relationships. It doesn't mean they don't love you.
Oh, relationships are so hard.
Yeah, well, they're beautifully complex, is what I like to say. They're not hard. They can be very simple and amazing, but they're complex because at the end of the day, we're two, flawed individuals coming together. Clashing of worlds, trying to create a whole new bubble. Yeah. You're over here, I'm over here, now we're coming together and trying to formulate a new bubble, and there's going to be a lot of failure, a lot of growth, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. So relationships in that capacity, yes, they are hard work, and but they can also be the biggest life joy as well, and it's about prepping ourselves for that experience. And I always say God is not going to bring that into your life until he feels that you are ready. Instead, he's going to continue to send you lessons.
100%. And you know what, I think what you're describing there, the failures, the lessons and all of this, that is actually something that excites me in a weird way, because it's like, why I want a partner that I can grow with as well. Like, of course, I know I'm responsible and accountable for my own growth, but when you enter a partnership with someone, you're both responsible for the growth as a relationship, and that is something that I actually find like quite exciting, you know.
It is.
And I can't wait to, when I meet the person that, you know, is able to accept me for the mistakes that I make in the future, you know, and like I want to be that person as well. Like, I think something as well that I've realised this year is I have been saying for so long, like, I want a husband, but I've never took a minute to take a step back and be like, what do I have to do as a wife? What do I have to do as a partner? How do I have to show up to be a partner? And that is the stage that I'm reflecting at now, you know. Well, okay, great. For me to have that husband eventually, I need to think about, how do I want to show up as a wife? You know, and that's something I've never thought about before. And I actually hear so many people say that as well. Like, oh, you know, I just had a conversation with a guy about this recently, and I was like, well, what are you looking for? And he's like, my life partner. I'm like, okay, well, what is that? And he just didn't know. He couldn't answer. Maybe he doesn't know, or maybe he just didn't want to tell me. But it was just so interesting to me, because I'm like, well, have you thought that, you know, you also need to be the life partner for someone else?
Yeah, I love that you brought this up, because you're right, we are always kind of writing these checklists and making demands of the universe to send us this very particular partner. But how are we showing up? What are we bringing to the table? And I always say the quickest way to manifest a partner is to become that person. So work on your own shit until that person shows up. Don't just wait around. Work on yourself. Work on the relationship with yourself. Work on your friendships. Work on, you know, and they will naturally come into your life. I personally don't use apps because I choose not to. And I've always met men in my life naturally just from living my life, just from doing what I love and being in environments that make me feel good. What I will say, that when your person does come along, or, you know, we can have multiple persons, when your next relationship comes along and it is a healthy, secure one, best believe it is going to blow you out of the water. It will be the biggest mirror. Careful what you wish for. But this is the most incredible experience, because my partner was the biggest mirror for me, where he could see all my shit and he brought it up. He didn't run away from it. Brought it up. Come on. This is your shit, this is my shit, and that's what it means to grow together. It's not comfortable. We're working through our shit together. But you know what? Like, I was so grateful to have a man that was willing to do that with me.
I love that. That's kind of sexy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm all for it now. That's sexy.
Oh.
Yeah, when a man shows up at the table, ready to work through your shit with you, and not going anywhere. And he would say to me, I am not going anywhere. I know you want to run away right now, because that was my defensive mechanism, because this is uncomfortable. I'm not going anywhere. Take a breath, but I'm going to be here.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, give me that.
Wait, I'm
over.
Stop crying. Oh.
Give me that over bulging biceps any day.
Yes. Oh, okay, right. Well, a nice way to wrap up, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there anything we haven't talked about?
My God, we talked about so much. There's just so much that anybody could take this, and you know, if there is anything that they want to dive deeper in, then they're always very welcome to reach out to me. I've got so much of all the things that we've talked about in my content and programs. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else. So, well, I mean, there's so much that we haven't covered.
So much we haven't talked about, but we need a whole day in this studio.
Yeah. But, you know, okay, let me just summarize. Let me just wrap this up. Focus on yourself, because that is the quickest way. If you are listening to this episode, you resonate with the anxious attachment, you want to have that partner in your life, and you don't want to be repeating all the bullshit and all the anxious avoidant dynamics. Not saying that avoidance people are bad. They also do the work on themselves and can be very thriving, secure individuals as well. The fastest way to do all of that is to work on yourself. Work on your attachment style. Like you said, become the person that you want to attract. Yeah. Be that amazing wife if you're going to attract an amazing husband. He's vibing up here, right? We're down here with the bad boy avoidance right now. We want to get up here, we have to work on getting up there and raise our standards, raise our self-worth, raise our confidence, raise our boundaries, all these things. That is what I'm all for, is just pull the focus back on yourself, even if that means coming off the dating apps for a while and just putting yourself in that space where you're ready for the triggers. Like you said, we're secure, right? When we're single, we're not triggered. And maybe the next step then is to invite triggers in. Yeah. And triggers will always take you that one layer deeper. So embrace them.
Where can people find you if they want to consume more of your content, work with you?
So Instagram is my biggest hangout. So I am Sammy, S-A-M-I, Reed Cleaver on Instagram. My company is called The Relationship Rehab, but my website is sammyreedcoaching.com. So you can find all the things, the freebies, the programs on that website. And if I do have a healing anxious attachment freebie actually that I can give you to link.
We can link in the description.
Yeah, so
I'm waiting to say that.
So yeah, I can give you the link to the healing anxious attachment freebie as well, so you can grab that and get started. But yeah, if you do want to reach out, my DMs are open.
I love that. We have an ending ritual on this podcast.
Of course you do.
What great podcasters do. What is something that you have done recently to fill your own cup?
That's a beautiful question. Do you know what? I've just got back to Thailand after spending a summer in Wales, and I gave myself permission to take time for myself and not fall back into work straight away. So I released pressure from myself to perform and to do work, and instead I just spent time with my girlfriends and nature, and I went to comedy improv, and I've been dancing and yoga. So giving myself permission to fill up the cup is how I filled it up.
I love that. I absolutely love that, making the space to just pour some stuff into the cup.
Yeah, get my nails done, get my hair done, like just catch up with myself after summer in the UK.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I literally love this. I'm going to go home. And for anyone watching and listening, what do I say? Please subscribe to this if you want to see more content on relationships. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation.
Do you want to say that again with a bit more confidence?
Okay. What do I say?
So you can say, like, I hope this episode has been super helpful. As Samantha said, reach out if you do want to dive more. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining. See you next time. Doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Thank you so much for joining today's episode. If you feel like this episode resonated, and if you enjoyed this episode and my lovely conversation with Samantha, please make sure that you subscribe, follow us along, and I'll be getting some more juicy content out soon.